Hi, my name's Stephen Aitken. I own Aitken Real Estate in Cheltenham, Victoria. And today's Facebook live streaming is about a career in real estate, more particularly talking about real estate sales. When I first went into real estate, my first interview, I was asked, what did I think real estate was all about? And my response was selling houses, which is a pretty reasonable response, I thought, at the time, when in fact the agent that I was talking to, or the principal that I was talking to, said to me that no, it's about listing houses. I didn't get the job, and I went away thinking, well, it must be about selling houses because that's what real estate people do. And that's true. So the facts are that we do sell houses, but there's a lot more to it. The one thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about some straight fact and fictions, and we've received some emails during the week, and we'll jump right into it. So we'll start off. And the first one is, we're just getting some technical issues here. The first one is that I have to work 7 days a week, I heard. So that isn't true. The actual fact is that a lot of agents in real estate today work 5 days a week. Some, I think in your first year or two, if you're going to be successful, you really probably have to work 6 days a week. But certainly 5 and a bit is pretty normal for most real estate salespeople. So that settles that. Real estate's easy. It looks pretty easy. I go out to open for inspections, and people stand around, or I've spoken to real estate people, and what they do is they talk to people. They come into the office, I think, and sit around and watch the iPad or the computer, go out and do a few appointments, and drive nice cars, wear nice clothes, and at the end of the day, they bank their money, and it's looks pretty easy. The fact is that is fiction, and the truth of the real estate industry and real estate sales in particular is most real estate salespeople are very hardworking, and they care deeply about what they do. But the normal situation with a real estate person these days is that they have to go out and look for their work. So unlike most industries where even insurance agents have insurance policies given to them, or they're able to sell to clients by the companies, real estate people, which is in real estate sales, I believe that real estate sales is the top of the real estate sales pyramid, or top of the sales pyramid. I think that if it's not at the very top, it's certainly right up there. And what you've got is that real estate salespeople have to, every day and every month and every quarter and every year, have to find their stocks. So they have to find the houses to sell. So, yep, selling's absolutely part of the deal, and talking to people is part of the deal, but the first things first is you've got to be able to get the stock. Now, most, I think, people from the outside looking in think that the companies have enormous loads of stock coming through their doors, and that isn't true. No matter what the company is, no matter what their profile is, the fact is that real estate salespeople are employed to talk to people and find stock and to sell homes. And that's what their clients want. Their clients want a great salesperson to be able to show the house off to its highest, to the highest standards, deal with the buyers and get the most amount, negotiate and get the most amount of money. But ultimately, so when we're talking about a career in sales, what we're talking about is going out and being able to find the stock. So that's a bit of fact and a bit of fiction. I'm too honest to go into real estate. Well, that's just absolute fiction. The reality is that to get a job in real estate today, to be successful in real estate today, you need to be honest, and you need to have character, and you have to have high integrity. The days are gone for cowboys in real estate. You may have, as an owner or a person walking around open for inspections or dealing with maybe some new person or inexperienced person or somebody that's gone into real estate thinking it's a quick way to make money, you certainly may have tripped over some of those. But professional, career bent salespeople, they are honest, they have a high level of integrity, and it's critical to get a job in real estate to do that. Another, so that's fiction that you're too honest. Talking about honesty and integrity. Once you've done, to get a job in real estate, you need I think it's called a Certificate 4 in Victoria, which is a short course with you can do it online or through the Real Estate Institute of Victoria, and it is a sub-agent's licence that allows you to work for a real estate office, and you have to have a police check, which means that you have to have a clear record, can't be have convicted for fraud or anything like that. There's a number of other things that would prevent you from getting a job in real estate. But to act or to work in a real estate position as a salesperson, you do need the Certificate 4, and you do need a police check before you can actually speak to people on that basis. So one of the other emails that came through is that people just sell houses, and as I said before, that's true. That's a fact. But the bulk of the job, that's probably maybe 10-15% of the time that a real estate salesperson spends is actually selling or even negotiating deals and selling houses. The rest, and we'll get to that in a few minutes, is more about all the other work that goes on behind the scenes, which often most people don't see, and all that they see is that, like the tip of the iceberg, they see the prettiness, the nice suits, the nice cars. It's a social business, so it's great. You get to talk to people, go and have a cup of coffee with them. Certainly, some agents do deals on the golf courses, and there's all that sort of social interaction. But they are working, which is a fact. I'll be great in real estate because I love looking at houses. Probably fiction. It's great that you like houses, but the reality is that there's a lot more to it than loving houses and looking at houses. You've got to have a deep interest in sales and that type of work. So looking at houses is probably fiction. Real estate agents are dumb is another one that I've heard from time to time, and I guess that, as true of any industry, there's a few dumb people out there. But the reality is, again, that is fiction. Most real estate people are not dumb. They're, again, hardworking. They're well informed as a general rule, and they try very hard to impart local knowledge and expertise to clients, both buyers and sellers. The thing with real estate is it is a simple job, but it's not very easy. So let's look at some of the characteristics or traits, I suppose, that make up a really good, successful salesperson. And some of these, I've got a few notes, but the first one that I think is the most important is to be able to connect and relate to people. I think that if you can't connect and you can't relate to people, you have no empathy or you don't understand that word, then you're going to struggle to work in the business. Real estate's not really a job. It's a vocation. It's a career. You are sort of on most of the time. Even socially, people want to talk to you about real estate quite often. You want to talk to people about real estate. So I think that ability to connect and relate to people and like people is critically important. It probably goes to my number one spot. The second part for me is always about the ability to love to learn. So again, successful real estate salespeople and real estate agents in general love learning. They want to learn about their craft. In fact, they want to know more about selling. marketing. They want to know about the psychology, the interaction of people, what makes people do what they do. They go to training. There's a lot of training. Successful people we're talking about, not people that feel it's all a bit of a grind. They don't want to read. They don't want to listen to audio. They don't want to watch any videos. That sort of attitude to training is probably going to mean that if you get into real estate, you'll probably have a pretty short career. It'll be a job, it'll be a grind, and you'll wonder why it's so hard. So you've got to love to learn. You need knowledge, and not just I think sales knowledge, which is often pointed out by lots of our training companies and all the rest of it. You've got to have local knowledge. So local knowledge means that you're interested in the prices of houses, that you're interested in the community, that you've got knowledge of things like where the school zones are, where the public transport is, how long it takes to get to certain stations and bus stops and tram routes and all the rest of it. And to me, having an interest in your local area is vital to be a successful agent, because the buyers particularly want to know that information when they come and speak to you, and sellers particularly want to know that you understand why they've bought there and why they've lived there for that period of time. So local knowledge is important, and understanding prices is very, very important, of course, because, again, sellers will want to interact with you and talk to you about that, as will buyers. And local knowledge and expertise on prices is very, very important. With the internet today and comparable sales databases and things like that, that helps, but it changes nothing from hands-on, going and seeing homes, having a look to see what's being sold, attending sales, attending auctions and things like that is very, very important for your local knowledge. Which brings me to another point about being in real estate sales. I think there are exceptions to this, but over the journey and for most of other principals that I've spoken to or owners of businesses, for the most part, most successful real estate salespeople live locally. Now, it's not to say that if you live a substantial distance from your office that you're thinking of going to, that you won't be a success, but odds are that won't happen. The reason is this, that again, it's local knowledge, it's being able to go to the local supermarket, meeting people, it's going to the service station and all the local businesses. But more importantly, part of our work is at night, and people think that all our work is of an evening. That's another myth that is bandied around today, and it is fiction. Today's working environment with people is lots of people have days off, lots of people work odd shifts, lots of people work flexi time. So we do get to speak to people during the day. So all our work being at night used to be probably 20 years ago, but today that's changed dramatically. But being in the local area when you do have to go out at night, because you do. So if people are thinking of selling or buyers, they're coming home from work often, and their only time may be of an evening and sometimes on a Sunday, because with today's generation of kids going to all sorts of sports and activities, and even one of the great parts about our job is we can take our kids to their sports and see them at the weekends and go back to work. So it's one of our, I guess, the benefits of our work is the flexibility of it. But being local makes a huge difference. Often we see successful salespeople involved in their church or schools or community groups, and their networking is very good. That's not to say you have to have that, but it does help. It does contribute to the successful end result for any salesperson. So living locally does help. I think that some of the other things that come up is that you have to be goal-driven or self-motivated, I think is the term bandied about. But goal-driven is absolutely critical. You need to know why you're going to do this. There's a lot involved. There's a lot of time that you have to take to learn and study. So goal-driven is really important, and I encourage anybody that's thinking of going into real estate to ask the question why you're going into it. Another fact and fiction moment is that you can make plenty of money going into real estate, and that's true. There are the successful real estate salespeople in our business do extremely well. They certainly have got earned salaries well in excess of $100,000, some well in excess of $200,000, and it is absolutely a fact that happens. It is absolute fiction that most real estate salespeople earn that money. The reality is that most real estate salespeople, average salespeople, probably earn between $50,000 and $80,000, and a lot more closer to $50,000 than you would have believe, and some below. So just because a salesperson drives a nice car or wears a nice suit or is clothed nicely does not mean that they're successful. They look like they're successful, but it absolutely is no guarantee. And in fact, when salespeople sometimes bandy around and tell you how well they're doing or how much they're doing, that would give you pause to think about really what's going on. And in fact, when I've been told that they're fantastic and they're wonderful salespeople, my first question to them is, let me have a look at your taxation group certificate for the last year, and that will give me some idea of how you're really going. So be a bit mindful of that when you're looking for a real estate career. It is great from a financial point of view. You are not limited to a wage or a salary, which means it opens all the doors for you to earn a wonderful living. And it is a great career. So again, a little bit of fact mixed with fiction with that. You need tenacity. You do need that ability to keep on going. You need to be competitive, both from an internal point of view and an external point of view. Competitive is within the offices. There are other sales team members, so you're going to be competitive with them, and that's a good thing. So if you like to compete, real estate sales is wonderful. Competitive outside the office, it simply means that you're competing always with other agents for the business, both selling homes and finding homes to sell. So competitive is very important. People say, well, I'm nice, I like talking to people, I'll be great in real estate. Again, a little bit of fact and fiction here. That's great. Yes, we're very pleased that you like talking to people, but the fiction is that you need to be assertive. You need to be able to get the job done, and you need to be able to sell the homes, negotiate the deals, and list the homes. So you need to, which is competitive, you need to be assertive, and I guess you need, as a couple of well-known trainers that our company has engaged over the journey says to some salespeople, often you have to reach behind your back and make sure your spine is in place. So that's very, very important for salespeople. I think driven is another word that's used for successful salespeople. They're driven to achieve. They have a tough mentality. They're not. They don't come up with excuses for why something can't be done. They're looking for solutions to find a way to resolve it. If you're looking for a gentle job that is, just a nice way of earning a wage, then real estate sales is probably not for you. In fact, I heard one successful salesperson say to me that real estate's a contact sport, and I suspect that there is some truth and some fact to that. You need to be organised. If you're an unorganised person in real estate, you're going to struggle. Organisation is very important today with online databases and in-office databases. It does help. But again, the reality is that that's great if you're organised. If you're unorganised, it's just going to be an unmitigated mess, and you will struggle again. So organised is very important, and tech proficient. Tech proficient doesn't mean you have to be an expert in computers, but it does mean you need to be able to use a computer. It means that you need to be able to use your iPhone and your tablet with some proficiency to be able to take photos, to take audios, to use the software that's available for most people. One of the great areas that I think, or one great trait that goes missing from people, and when we sit down with people that are struggling in sales, is discipline. You need to be a really disciplined person because real estate is a social business. It means that you have flexible time. You can conduct your appointments and things that you must do to a large degree that suits you. The reality is, if you're not disciplined, you will not get through the work that's required to achieve success, which is really, of course, why you're there. Somebody said that most of the time that all you have to do is, as I said, go out and speak to a few people. I've got a note here that says about 70% of the time when salespeople are working, they're spending 70% of the time they're spending prospecting, which means going out and looking for people that want to sell their homes and following up and listing their homes for sale. Now, I think that to most successful salespeople, they will tell you that that's absolute fact. The fiction is that most people think from the outside that we spend our time just selling houses, showing houses, and dealing with buyers, when that isn't true. And in fact, people that, if you're looking to go into a company that does open for inspections, the reality of open for inspections, while it's touted as an area to deal with buyers, that's partly true. Those salespeople there are always looking for somebody that wants to sell. So keep that in mind, that's very important to understand. So 70% of your time is going to be out prospecting and following up and listing. 20% of the time is probably with buyers, selling and negotiating sales. 10% of the other time is with admin meetings and all the rest of it. Now let's go back to what's involved in a day's work for a new person in real estate. So the fact is, I think, again, or the fiction is, that people think that they can come in, go and do a few appointments, they've got their certificate and their police check, and off they go. Well, again, fiction. In every real estate office, no matter who they are, successful real estate people are excellent listers. So the only way to find listings, so stock to sell, houses to sell, or commercial properties to sell, is to go and prospect. And prospect just simply means finding people to talk to. The analogy for prospecting is gold prospecting. The old term was farming. So cultivating crops is the same as cultivating people. And I liken it to finding truffles. The reality is that you're out there. There's a lot of them there. You know that they're there. It's just finding the right ones, the people that want to sell. So the way to do that, the only way to do it, really is to go and speak to people. Now, so who do you speak to? Well, you speak to everybody. You speak to the shopkeeper. You speak to the garage owner. You speak to everybody. If you do open for inspections, well, you're going to speak to people that come to those if they put you on any of the open for inspections. But you've got to cross your fingers and hope that somebody comes through that wants to sell their house, and not just the neighbours that are simply looking. So what's the other alternative? Well, I think a lot of people think that you can just go out and drop some leaflets or drop your business cards. Well, again, that's just simply fiction, because in a competitive, hard-working real estate office, the company themselves do the direct mail, they do the leaflet drops, they do all those sort of things. So how do you get your business? How do you succeed in this? Well, as I said, talk to people. The only way to do it is knock on the door. You know where the stock is, it's sitting out there facing you. You have to go out and speak to people. Now, I might tell you, especially in our office, so if you were certainly contemplating giving us a call, but I can assure you in most other real estate offices that if you can master the art of prospecting and certainly get over your fear of perhaps door knocking, you are on the way to becoming successful. The reality is that if you're talking residential properties, that stock is sitting out there as you drive to work and drive home every day. The thing that you're looking to find is those people that are thinking about selling now and in the near future. and being able to develop a relationship with those people. But the first thing is you've got to find them. So the only way to go out is to go and door knock and see how you go. There's lots of ways to go about doing that. Our trainers and in our office, we certainly train for that, but there's lots of books, and I'll mention some of those at the end of this broadcast, that you can go and have a read and listen to. But that's simply it. And when people talk about failing in real estate, they simply don't talk to enough people. And if they do talk to enough people, if they are doing that, and they're still not achieving some degree of success, real estate's just simply not for them. Just like lots of jobs and careers and vocations are not for people where they think they are, real estate just simply isn't for you. If you go and speak to a lot of people and you can't develop a rapport and a relationship and goodwill with people that you're talking to, then I'm sorry, as much as it pains me to tell you, real estate just isn't for you. So that is absolutely a fact, is that you do have to go and talk to people. The other part of prospecting, which I was reading the other day about why people fail in real estate, and besides my own intimate knowledge of salespeople that have come and gone through our office, and in various other offices as well, is it is not just simply a case of prospecting and speaking to people, it's a case of following up. So that goes back to that tenacity and perseverance and the ability to hear no 100 times before you hear yes. So the ability to follow up with purpose, the ability to follow up with good grace, politeness, to understand what the people that you're listening to, what they want, is very, very important. So follow-up is another critical area of what you're going to be doing as a real estate salesperson. Now, another thing that, and I think that when people go for a job, what they want to know is how much money they can earn, and that's a pretty reasonable thing in real estate. Because, as I said, I think that people in real estate see the markets, for good or bad, going up, sideways or down. Real estate salespeople are always there. You know, death, marriage and divorce. It's the 3 Ds. And dispatch, I suppose. Death, divorce and dispatch. But the reality is that most successful salespeople have genuinely built good rapport, good relationships, and trust is a vital factor in a successful sales career. People that are dealing with you must trust you. And you have to return that trust by giving good guidance, good information, and those sort of things. So that's quite critical. The other thing is, let's talk about pays for a second. Real estate industry in Victoria particularly is probably paid 3 ways. The first is commission only. So in Victoria, I'm pretty sure that a company can only really suggest commission only after you've worked in real estate for a year. So that's number one. But commission only is common. I've run into people that have been in real estate for the first time, and the companies they've worked for have only been paying them commission only, which is pretty tough. You're going to work, you're expending your money on cars and clothes and all sorts of things. And if you're on commission only, you've got to be at the top of your game, or you're going to wonder what you're doing. The second part, which is pretty much par for the course and more common and widely used in Victoria, I'm unsure about some of the other states, but it is advance against commission. So it's really a debit credit system. So what happens is the companies pay you a monthly salary generally, or a fortnightly salary, and once you do a deal, you make a sale, which is really the end result of all your work. You make a sale, or somebody makes a sale of your listing. And further down the track, when it's often when that property settles, that the money that the percentage that is coming to you is then that is deducted from the money that they've already paid you. And again, people go into the business on the basis that it sounds like a good idea at the time, that they can make quick money, and it's pretty simple. And as I said, it is pretty simple, but it's not very easy. And the debit credit system for long-time successful people works are fine in some offices, but the truth is, again, if you really dig deep into what salespeople often earn, it is, you know, an average wage at best. So that's pretty common debit credit used in the bulk of offices. And the reason that agents do that and real estate companies do that, and with commission only, is because the standard of some of their people is less than satisfactory. And what happens is, if you're paying sales staff a salary and bonuses and things like that, they do have to perform. And if they don't, it will send an agency broke, literally. So that's the reason for it. The third method, which is what Aitken Real Estate employs, and some of our sister offices, both in Victoria and around Australia, is a salary plus bonuses. So we pay a non-refundable or non-payback salary, and we pay bonuses on top of that. For us, it is very important that we don't have salespeople out there trying to get through a deal that's not in the best interests of our clients. So we make sure that it is a substantial salary, a livable salary that is non-refundable to the company, and that that they have substantial bonuses to make sure that they're out there doing their job. And the other part of the salary is we pay for actions. So when we pay a salary, we expect salespeople to follow through on the promises and the commitments they've made to us and to our clients, that they will carry those out. So paying a salary, from our point of view, is very, very important. So they're the three main aspects of being paid in real estate. Timing is, as I said, people think you're working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. That's just fiction. You can work very flexible hours, and in fact, there's an email question that's come through that said, can I work part-time? The answer is absolutely. We offer part-time positions. It is not just a simple matter of, again, I think I'll be good in real estate, that's what I'm going to do. There's certain criteria that has to be met and certain results that have to be performed, but certainly part-time is available. Not always in all real estate offices, but certainly in ours and in certain sister offices, they do offer part-time, which is great for sometimes stay-at-home mums or mums with kids, school-aged children. That is a particularly a good opportunity for some people. Stay-at-home dads, same thing. You know, it's terrific. Some of the books that I mentioned before, when we're talking about learning, and people go, well, I've been in sales, or I've been successful in something. Well, that's lovely. But again, real estate really does sort the wheat from the chaff. And you do need to train, unfortunately. But some of the books, and we can, if you miss these, you can wind this back or give me a call at the office and we'll give you a list. But some of the books is Success Takes Character by Neil Genman, Why Winners Win by Gary Pittard, Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blount, which is probably the best book on prospecting that you'll buy, Goals by Brian Tracy, Influence by Robert Cialdini. It's a wonderful book on human psychology, why we do what we do. I think you'll be surprised when you read that book of some of the things that you've been trapped with when you've bought things yourself. Unreasonable by Michael Keyes, Kies, and How to Have It All by Christine Guidotti. The other areas that you can go to is there's a company called Audible, which you can pay a subscription and a small subscription fee and get books, audible books, so you can listen to them on your iPhone or your iPad, which is wonderful, and that listen to it in your car. So all those areas is very important. From a local area knowledge, of course, there's the internet, which is just perfect, and getting out. It's real estate is the the Pokemon Go. It's wonderful to get out and be with people. Some of the other things that come up with real estate, and which I don't think people really realise either. People will come into real estate and think that it's, as I said, simple, but they don't realise real estate is not goals driven, it is results driven. So you can be a very, very hard-working, diligent, nice person that really wants to succeed, but no results. Well, that is either a lack of skill, or it's a lack of knowledge, or both, or simply the work isn't for you. You can't keep working in real estate, talking to a lot of people, and not succeed if you're doing that legitimately, and you're also your knowledge base is increasing all the time, and you're training and doing all that. If you're not succeeding, you do have to really reconsider your position. And I'm sure most real estate sales managers and sales controllers and principals will be reconsidering your career choice as well. That's a fact. Unfortunately, when people look at going into real estate, they often, or some are out of work, they think this is an easy fix, they can make some quick money. But again, that's fiction. Real estate, I think, relatively speaking, to be successful in real estate takes you about 2 years. You can go pretty well in your first year if you're right at it and doing all the things necessary, have all the attributes and all the skills that we would reasonably expect. But it really does take a couple of years to get it together. Excuse me. What you've got to do is you've got to be able to relate to your client base. You've got to build your client base, which means, again, talking to a lot of people. Somebody said to me, how many people would I need to speak to a day? Our minimum is really 60 to 80, and our minimum actually comes down to about 80 people. If you're not talking to 80 people a day, unless you're doing a listing or a couple of listing presentations, or you're selling something, or you're negotiating a deal, if you're not doing that, we've got to wonder what you're out there doing. But sitting at a desk, making a few phone calls, looking at the comparable sales, doing all those sort of things is not going to make you any money. It's not going to make the company any money, and quite frankly, it's just all going to end in tears. So I think that overall, I can say this about a career in real estate. Real estate is absolutely wonderful. I've enjoyed a 32-year career in real estate sales. It's been a lot of fun. I've worked with some fantastic real estate people, some wonderful trainers, Gary Pittard, Neil Genman, Michael Keys. There's been some sensational people in real estate, and still are, of course. Those people are all training. It is wonderful to learn, continue to learn every day, just like any sports person, professional wants to keep increasing their knowledge base both in sales and marketing and psychology and all those sort of things. In leadership is another area. When you're as a salesperson, you're leading people, they're seeking your guidance, whether they're selling or buying, it's probably the most important decision that they will make. They might only make one in their lifetime, they may make a few, but the reality is you're there to assist, and without genuinely considered knowledge, and also ran, in my view. So it is just a wonderful career. Socially, it's wonderful. I must say that when you go out, when you say you're in real estate, people do want to talk to you. Perhaps not so much with other jobs, but certainly in real estate, it's one of the joys of dealing in it. It's flexible, so it's great. You can go and speak up your kids from school. You can go home and have dinner with your partner. It's marvellous from that point of view. You can go out and do things that restricted jobs just don't allow you to do. You can make it is effectively a business within a business. You can do all sorts of things, but it does require those traits that I said to you at the very start. You are really going to have to get to it, and the companies that employ you are really looking to get those results. They're not there for fun. It isn't the Red Cross, unfortunately. We do want to be community driven, and we want to do all those things. But you as a real estate salesperson needs to deliver what you're employed to do, which is results. And ultimately, this is, as I said, finding properties to sell. There's a couple of other things that I thought I might touch on very quickly, and that is that there are other positions in real estate that come up. One is property management. That's a wonderful entree for some people, and there are courses at the Real Estate Institute of Victoria. There's some online companies that do property management that are very, very good, and that some companies use in property management training. So if you are looking to get in, coming to a company with some of those courses under your belt is a great thing if you're looking in property management. There's business development managers in property management, which is sales, but not quite with the heavy weight of listing and making sales that residential sales or commercial sales has. But you still have to do your numbers. You still have to produce your results. So a business development manager, there's assistant property managers, there's sales support and rental support, there's receptions. So there's a lot of areas that you can look at in real estate. But it is a wonderful business. It is just a lot of fun. As I said, you'll get to work with a lot of people, and it can be truly rewarding. And even today, I think that there's other areas that are opening up in real estate companies like social media. And so if you're looking to sort of put a toe in the water, come and... I will say, though, I was going to say give one of these companies a ring. I think if you're a serious real estate salesperson, you should be door knocking and prospecting these companies and demonstrating to them why they should employ you. So you are, after all, in theory, going to be a real estate salesperson. You need to demonstrate that to your prospective employer. But having said that, I think today we should just finish by saying that you should also have an understanding of the company that you're going to talk to. We do a lot of interviews, as do a lot of my colleagues and peers, and one of the things that we notice is the lack of knowledge when people come to speak to us. If you haven't done your research, if you haven't looked at companies' websites and understand what they're about and how they do things, or investigated the industry, whether you're going into a company that does auctions or such as us, we don't do public auctions, then I'm always surprised at that, and that's a big cross for us. So again, I'd caution people that are going to look at this. This isn't just a quick, easy job. It's a vocation and career, and I hope that somebody that's watching this, or people that are watching this, sit back, review their goals, what they want out of life, and give myself or some of my peers a call, and that you have a wonderful career in real estate. We look forward to catching you next time on Facebook. Cheers for now.